Okay guys, so in today's video, I want to see if I can get a totally crushing, heavy, modern metal tone from a very non-metal guitar. Now the reason that I want to do this is to answer a question that comes up again and again in the comments section. When I review a guitar, the question almost always comes up, hey, can I use this guitar for that style of music? And a lot of the time people will even name a particular artist, like, hey, can I use this guitar to play Metallica? Questions like that come up all the time in my comments section. And honestly, we tend to think of guitars as being sort of dedicated to one particular style. When you think of Metallica, you probably think of like a Gibson Explorer. Or when you think of AC/DC, you think of an SG. And when you think of a lot of shred guitar players like Joe Satriani or Steve Vai, you think of an Ibanez. And when you think of a completely different style of music like jazz or fusion, you generally don't think of any of those guitars. Now what I'm getting at here is that idea is basically a myth. The idea that you can only use particular guitars for particular styles, it just really isn't true. And I think this has a lot more to do with how we associate particular artists or particular guitarists with particular guitars. We tend to think of somebody like, again, to use AC/DC as an example, we think of like Angus Young, and he uses a Gibson SG, so after a while we associate it where it's like, oh, well I guess the Gibson SG is just perfect. It's the guitar that you need to play like a blues rock style. But honestly, if Angus Young had been using a Telecaster for all those years, we would probably associate the Telecaster instead of the SG with blues rock. Now sure, some guitars might allow for particular styles to be played more easily than others, like with the fret access on the guitar or maybe particular kinds of pickups. But the idea that a particular style can only be played by one type of guitar is really just a myth. So to illustrate this, I'm going to take a very non-metal guitar, my budget semi-hollow Firefly 338, which we would traditionally think of as a jazz or blues guitar, and I'm going to see if I can get a brutal, crushing, modern metal tone with it. Okay, now we'll go ahead and get into this in just a second, but real quick guys, if you enjoy videos like this, especially checking out affordable guitars, and you have not already subscribed, please consider subscribing right now. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. This guitar is totally stock, totally original. The only thing I have done is I changed the strings to a heavier gauge of strings because I'm going to be using a lower tuning. This guitar costs less than $200. It's got the original pickups, everything original. Now the amplifier I'm going to use is my Blackstar ID Core, and I'm going to use it on the highest gain channel it has. Okay, so let's get into this test. We'll start out with a very basic clean tone. You can hear some sort of the natural jazziness of the guitar, and then we're going to switch over to that super high gain channel on the amplifier, and we'll hear if we can get that super heavy modern metal tone with this guitar. Okay guys, so I hope I've made my point with that demo. Again, less than $200, semi-hollow body guitar. I mean, this is, what you would typically think of for playing like blues rock or just like traditional blues or something. But with the right amplifier and the right amp settings, and of course we're tuned down, we're using a heavier gauge of strings, you can get a totally heavy, brutal tone with this. And honestly, there's nothing about this guitar that makes it difficult to play any particular style. You've got 22 frets, you've got pretty good fret access on the high frets if you want to do some lead work. It's not a super thick neck, it's a pretty average, kind of slim average neck. Medium frets, I mean, honestly, most of the specs of this guitar are pretty standard. The thing is, just from the looks of the guitar, or if somebody was out shopping for a metal guitar, they're probably not going to choose this, right? Just based on the looks. But that does not mean that you can't use this guitar for that style. Now, obviously, not everybody who has asked those questions in my comments sections over the past years, they're not all going to watch this video. I wish there's some way I could give this video to everybody. But yeah, just to answer that question, yeah, whatever style you want to play with whatever guitar you're looking at, you can play that style. It'll work great. It's all the same instrument. You're not trying to play Metallica on a viola. If it's an electric guitar, it's gonna work. Now, I will say this, what does make a big difference is the amplifier, and to a certain extent, the effects you use. The Blackstar amp I'm using is really cool. I've had it for a long time. It's a very affordable amp, which is awesome, but it has some killer high gain tones in it. And it has a built-in noise gate, which makes using those high gain channels really easy. And to get a killer, heavily distorted metal tone, that's really what you need. You need a great high gain metal type amplifier. And if you have that, you can plug just about any guitar into it and get a great tone like that. Now, what if you don't have that? What if you don't have an amplifier with a great high gain channel on it? Well, even if you have an amplifier that only has a clean channel, if you have a really nice, clean channel, if you know what I mean, you can plug a basic distortion, stomp box, or even an overdrive pedal into that and still get a great heavy tone. In fact, there are even a lot of distortion pedals out there that are meant to be used exactly like that. You have the amplifier set up as clean as you can possibly get it, and then you get all of the gain just from the stomp box. And yeah, even if you have a really lame amplifier, a lot of the time, a great pedal can save it. Okay guys, now I want to hear from you on this. Give me your top examples of guitarists who maybe play metal or something, but they use a guitar that you would never associate with that genre. Or the other way around, maybe there's like a jazz fusion guitarist or something that uses a Jackson Warrior. Give me your top examples of that in the comments section below. And guys, if you want to use the same setup I'm using, of course I'll have links in the video description below for both the amplifier and the guitar I was using. I will also have links down there for my new instructional program. There's a special 50% off code for that down there, and all of my social media as well. As always guys, thanks a ton for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, thumbs up, and I'll see you soon.